Hey everybody, this is D Hunter bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the Jazwares Fortnite Legendary Series Legendary Loadout Accessory Pack for their 6-inch scale Fortnite figures. Now, it's been a while since we've had a Jazwares Fortnite release, and this is a welcome accessory pack. We've never gotten an accessory pack or anything like that from Jazwares, simply only the figures. And sure, they were loaded with accessories, but this is something pretty cool you can use to enhance your figures. Something interesting about this set, it's not a new set. It's been out for a few months. I saw some pictures on Instagram, as well as the action figure forums that I frequent, Whoosh. But apparently, these were only available overseas in the UK. I kept checking Amazon and other websites trying to see when would I be able to purchase this, when would I be able to purchase this. I waited and waited and waited and waited, and finally realized we may never get this in the US. Maybe COVID-19 had something to do with it, who knows. I messaged a buddy of mine from the UK. He bought these 2 packs for me. They retail for $9.99 each. And if you think to yourself, is that a good value? It brings them to about $2.50 a gun, and honestly it doesn't really seem like a great value in my opinion. So he ended up mailing these to me. I paid a little bit extra to cover the shipping and whatnot, but I'm happy to check this off my list. So let's go ahead and check out the packaging here. At the top, you see Epic Games, feature weapons for 6-inch figures, Fortnite ages 8+. The bottom, Legendary Loadout for their Legendary Series. In it, we've got a light machine gun, a minigun, a pump shotgun, and a rocket launcher. My personal favorite. On the back, you can see all 4 of these weapons, and it looks like they're going to have an action feature on each one. I was just thinking we've already got a pump shotgun from Jazwares. This one looks like it's actually going to pump, so we'll check that out later. And it looks like an advertisement for the other set. There is a barcode in case that helps anybody. This would be the first pack. And the second pack here, we've got a boom bow, the grapnel launcher, a flintlock, and a double barrel shotgun. On the back, looks like they're going to have action features as well. And here's the barcode for pack number 2, if that helps anybody. So, with no further ado, let's open these up and see how they look with the Jazwares figures. Alright, now that we got these guns out of the package, here they are laid out. On the left, we've got loadout number 1. On the right, loadout number 2. So let's take a quick peek at each one of the guns individually. We'll compare it to any other guns they've released that are similar. And we'll look at it in a Jazwares and McFarlane Fortnite figures hands. Here's pack number 1. We've got a light machine gun, a minigun, a rocket launcher, and a pump shotgun. Here's the light machine gun. I believe this has been vaulted for quite some time in the game. The action feature this gun has, ammunition is removable and replaceable. Pretty nice feature. It also has a nice little stand at the front. Handle up here. Not too bad detail overall. I see some green, gray, black, and a lot of sculpting on it. Here's one of the Jazwares figures holding this gun. Fits just fine in his hand. Here's the minigun. This thing has the handle at the back here. Another area you can hold it up top here. On the front it says Hasta La Vista. Kind of find that odd. I would think it would say Hasta La Vista. Can't imagine that's trademarked. It's just a phrase. The barrel at the front, that's the action feature this thing has. It can rotate a little bit at the front. Probably the weakest action feature on this set. Overall, not a bad looking accessory. Here's the McFarlane version of the minigun on the top, next to the Jazwares version of the minigun at the bottom. Here's one of the Jazwares figures holding this minigun. I'm using his right hand to hold the handle at the back, and his left hand to hold the handle in the middle. The middle handle doesn't really function, his hand's just sort of there, not adding any real stability. And now here's a look at what I thought was the rocket launcher, but looking at it a little closer, it's the guided missile. This thing here is pretty big and bulky, shoots an actual missile out the front. I see a little bit of gray around the barrel. It's got an arrow pointing forward back here. It's got a handle, a secondary handle to support it. It's got a trigger mechanism here to actually launch the missile. At the back, pretty plain. So take it, and it can shoot a decent distance. This is a pretty cool weapon in the game. You could shoot the missile, then control it and tell it where to go. Let's see if we can't take a little bit of a better look at the distance this guided missile launcher can make. So take it here, take your little trigger mechanism, push it inward, and it goes pretty far as long as you're pointing it straight out. If you point it upward, it's really not going to go far at all. Here it is, next to the other members of the rocket launcher family that have been released. On the left-hand side, we've got a couple rocket launchers from McFarlane Toys. On the top, a quad rocket launcher. On the bottom, a standard rocket launcher. And on the right-hand side, some Jazwares. The top one is the guided missile launcher, and the bottom one is the standard rocket launcher. Here she is, holding the missile launcher. Like I said before, this thing is big, this thing is bulky. You want her hand holding the handle and the back of the missile launcher on her shoulder. And then here's the pump shotgun. You can see the little sort of handle area here. I believe this one's action feature is an actually functioning pump, which is pretty cool. Definitely like that. Got some brown, some gray, good amount of sculpting, especially the top of the barrel there. Here it is, next to the regular pump shotgun from Jazwares. This thing has been released 2 or 3 different times. The standard release is quite a bit smaller than this new release and doesn't look quite as good. Here it is, next to all the other shotguns released by both McFarlane and Jazwares. On the left, the first column is all McFarlane. At the top, we've got a fancier pump shotgun. Then we've got a tactical shotgun. Then a heavy shotgun. Then a double-barreled shotgun. The next column are Jazwares. We've got the pump shotgun from this accessory pack, the pump shotgun from the figures, the double-barrel shotgun. Then the last column, also from Jazwares, the heavy shotgun, tactical shotgun, and combat shotgun. Here is a Jazwares figure holding his pump shotgun. He can hold it with either one hand, but I prefer to hold it with 2 hands. Right hand on the trigger, left hand on the pump. Now let's check out Legendary Loadout Pack number 2. This one comes with a boom bow, double barrel shotgun, grapnel launcher, and the flintlock. Here is the boom bow. This thing is in a green color. Not super fond of that. It's got a logo of an arrow at the bottom. Got the crossbow at the top. Got a handle back here. And a little trigger mechanism so you can actually shoot out the missile. And let's not see if we can't take a little better look at the range of this thing. Shoots pretty far. Not too bad at all. Here's a Jazwares figure holding the boom bow. Now, a little issue with his trigger finger. Not really sure how to get it to utilize the trigger properly. Don't think it's really working the way it's supposed to, but it does hold it and it does work, at least for now. Next, let's look at the double barrel shotgun. One thing I want to point out about this Legendary Pack number 2, they almost all look like they have custom skins on the guns. And I actually think that detracts from the guns. The Legendary Pack number 1 were pretty much all in the standard colors, and I personally much prefer that. But a couple of these guns, I mean, it's got yellow camo over the top of the double barrel shotgun. Cool for a Fortnite gun, but definitely makes it a little less useful for the rest of my action figures. It's got a nice little trigger there, brown, camo yellow at the top. The action feature on this, and I think it's pretty cool, it can crank down so you can reload it. And you think it's kind of loose, but it actually does snap into place and will stay upright just fine. Here it is, next to the McFarlane version of the double barrel shotgun. The McFarlane version, a little bit more standard colored and better detailed. Overall, I think I'm going to pick that one over the Jazwares version. But the action feature is pretty cool, I must admit. And here it is, next to all the other shotguns released by both McFarlane and Jazwares. Here's a Jazwares figure holding the double barrel shotgun, able to utilize his trigger in the trigger finger area just fine. Looking pretty good. Now let's check out the grapnel gun. This thing here, a little bit transparent at the top. It's got the handle, the trigger, the suction cup that'll fire off. It's got a little string keeping attached to itself, and it has a trigger mechanism down below so you can actually fire it, and it dangles like so. Here's the Jazwares grapnel launcher on the top, next to the McFarlane version on the bottom. The size of the McFarlane one is the size the Jazwares one should have been. I don't know if they had to make it that big to fit the spring and mechanics inside of it. The McFarlane figures are actually larger than the Jazwares figures, so these are ass backwards. Here's a Jazwares figure holding the grapnel launcher. Handle fits just fine. The trigger finger goes into the trigger area, no problem. This thing is definitely oversized compared to how it should be next to this guy. And then the last gun from Loadout Pack number 2 is the Flintlock. I really don't like the color of this thing. Obviously it's a skin color from the game, but it's red with a blue tip. I mean, how practical is that for a gun? The action feature on this thing, you can pull this back, get it loaded, ready to go, and blast it. Overall, it doesn't look bad, but it could really benefit from a repaint. Here it is, next to the McFarlane version of the Flintlock at the bottom. I must say, I think the McFarlane version looks a whole lot better than the Jazwares. Here it is, next to all the different pistols released by both McFarlane and Jazwares. On the left side, the first column is all from McFarlane. We've got the hand cannon or deagle at the top, then the Flintlock, then the 6-shooter, and all the rest of them are Jazwares guns. The second column, we've got the Flintlock, the hand cannon, the regular pistol, the revolver, and then the last column, we've got the silenced pistol, dual pistols, and the scoped Magnum. Here's a Jazwares figure holding the Flintlock. He's able to have the handle into his hand, no problem. His trigger finger into the trigger area, no problem at all. Here are all the different guns released by both McFarlane and Jazwares, not showing the ones that both companies have made, and I'm happy to say they are pretty much all interchangeable between both lines and each figure. Here's a shot with 8 Jazwares figures utilizing all these weapons in a little battle royale scene. And if you were curious if the McFarlane figures can hold the guns as well, they can hold them perfectly. Here are 8 McFarlane figures holding all 8 of these Legendary Loadout weapons. In fact, they can almost hold them better than the Jazwares figures. So overall, this pack is decent, but it's not great. At first, I was a little bummed out when seeing the pack that you're going to have to pay $10 and get 4 guns. $2.50 a gun seems a little bit steep, but that was before I knew it had action features. If you take the action features into consideration, you get a decent value. There are definitely some things I like and some things I don't like about these packs. On the left-hand side, the first 4 guns are from pack number 1. On the right-hand side, from pack number 2. I much prefer pack number 1 for a couple different reasons. Number 1, the guns are a lot bigger and you seem to get a better value. Number 2, the guns are regular, standard colors, so I can use them for other action figure lines and they won't look weird. Pack number 2, good guns, but we've got a green crossbow, we've got a blue and red pistol, we've got a shotgun with yellow camouflage on it, just a little bit over the top. Great for Fortnite guns, not so good if you want to use it for some other figures. Now, I'm not really fond of the missile launching features. It seems like something a kiddie toy would have. I don't think the missiles themselves look very good in both the Boombo and the guided missile launcher. I really do like the fact that we got a whole bunch of never released guns before. Jazwares has never released pretty much any of these guns with the exception of the pump shotgun. And between McFarlane and Jazwares, first time releases are the guided missile launcher, light machine gun, and the Boombo. So overall, if I were to rate this set, I'd probably give the pack number 1 a 6 out of 10 and the pack number 2 a 5 out of 10. I'm happy to check this off my list. Hoping this does well, so they'll give us more and a bunch of different various accessory packs in the future. I'd love to get one from McFarlane as well. Can't wait for the next Jazwares releases. I believe we're going to be getting some figures in July, coming up pretty soon. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching this video. This is D Hunter. You might check me out on Twitter, D Hunter's Reviews. There will be a link in the description below. Just started that a few days ago. So if you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure videos from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.